Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's webinar. We're here in Scottsdale, Arizona at the My Swing Pro Studio. Sunny and warm Scottsdale, Arizona, in the desert. No snow, no cold weather. We're brought to you by Medicus Golf and KickX Golf. If you have any questions, just put them in the sidebar, and I'll get to those as soon as I finish our topics today. So the topic today is 3 things you need to know about your golf swing. So we're going to go into these 3 things, then we're going to take some questions, and hopefully this will help you. So what are these 3 things you need to know? Number 1, you need to know what your golf ball is doing. Number 2, you need to know what your golf club is doing. And number 3, you need to know what your body is doing. So it sounds pretty simple, but let's talk about each one of these a little bit more. So when you hit a shot, whether it's good or bad, especially if it's bad, you don't want to hit the shot and turn around and slam your club. You want to watch the entire shot, no matter if it's a hot grounder, because it's going to give you feedback. So what your golf ball is doing, whether it's starting straight at the target, to the right of it, or to the left, right? Now that's going to tell you what the club face is doing. If your ball is starting to the right, then you know the face is pointed to the right. If it started to the left, then you know the face is pointed left. If it's starting at your target, then you know the face is pretty square. So watching that golf ball is going to tell you not only trajectory and start lines, it's going to tell you then to back that up a little bit more to find out what the golf club is doing. And remember, the hands are what control the golf club to a great extent. But your body can also throw that club out of what we would call playing or swinging in different directions, and that can cause the face to change. So let's back up. I'm going to ask you a question now. If you're a right-handed golfer, and you're hitting the targets this way, you're hitting a shot this way, and you want to draw the ball to the target, where must your face point at impact? Time's up. If you said your face has to point to the right, you're absolutely correct. Because if you start with it straight and you're trying to draw it, it's going to be what's called a straight draw. If you start with it closed and you're trying to draw it, it's going to be a pull draw. So we need to make sure that the face is pointing in the direction we want to start the ball. But there's another piece to this. We talked about the club face. Now we have to talk about the club head, which is the path of the golf swing. So your path can be more outward. That means the club's coming from back here and working outward. It can be more inward, which means the club's coming from out here and across. Or it can be what's called on line. So you only have those 3 options. And now there's variations between those 3. But you're either going to start at what we call online, or too much inward, or too much outward, okay? So that path, relative to the club face, is going to determine where the ball starts to the club face to a large degree, and how much it's going to curve. So again, if I'm trying to hit a shot to the camera, I'm going to draw it, I want my face to be pointed to the right of target at impact. Now, to get this ball to draw, the club head needs to be traveling on a line farther right than that club face. It doesn't have to be a lot, so let me give you an example. If I look at my watch, I've got 60 seconds on here, and at 1 second after 12, 1 second represents 6 degrees. So let's do a little math here. Let's say that my club face was 2 degrees open to the target line. That means my path would have to be 4 degrees to the right of that club face to get it to draw back. I'm going to fade it using the same math. My face would have to point 2 degrees to the left. That's where I want the ball to start. And my path would have to be 4 degrees left to get it back to target. So remember, the ball always curves away from the path. And now finally, the body. And your body can do a lot of different things, okay? You can, and I'll put it on my hip so you can see it. You can be too linear, going cross-line this way. You can be too rotational, which throws the club out too quick. Or you can have a good combination of both. So you have 3 things that a golf ball can do, 3 things that club face and club path can do, and 3 things that your body can do. Now you have to put those all together. So if you're someone that is turning too much, right in the downswing and the club's working its way outward, you need to focus on more of a shift this direction. In other words, it's a target line at second base. I'm trying to shift this over to where the second baseman would be. If I have too much motion going this direction, then I'll want to feel I'm getting this more towards the shortstop, in their position in this. So 3 club faces, 3 paths, 3 body motions, and now we have to learn how to control this face, and that will be 3 different hand motions as well. So if I put it up here, and I swing right here, okay, so there would be square, open, closed. Now I'm doing that with my hands. If you look at your video, you get to the top and you have a club face that is, I'll kneel down a lot so you can see it, that is facing the camera like this. Generally the player is going to come over this way. If the face is laid wide open this way, generally the player is going to go to the right and try to get the face closed down. So you can work on fixing the face, you can work on fixing the grip, but again, as we've talked about many, many times, just set a rod out in front of you, about 10 yards, get in your normal square stance, try to start 10 balls to the right of that rod from a square stance. Then try to start 10 balls to the left of the rod, not changing your swing, but changing what the club face is doing. So if you can look at those 3 things, what is the ball doing? What is the club doing? What your body's doing? What is it that your body's doing? Then you can pretty much fix your golf swing without any help from me or anybody else. If you do need help with your golf swing, you can come visit me in the desert here at the Legacy Golf Resort, and we can work on your golf game for a half day, full day, or 2 days. So now, and you get all this information, what we're going to do is work on your golf swing, let you become the golfer you want to be. So now let me go up and answer some of these questions here that we've got today, all right? So our first question is from John. Ball position, keep it in the same place or vary the width of stance or moving the ball forward or backwards according to the club or the shot? Okay, that's a pretty common question, John. So let's say I have the golf ball here. What's basically going to dictate your ball position is how the club is designed to set and address. And we've talked about this before as well. Let me move up to the camera. So I want this club to set so the leading edge and the trailing edge are both touching the ground. So if I back up, you'll see how much shaft lean that is. So if I come up and I set my club to the ball with the amount of lean that it has, take my grip, take my stance, so if the butt of the club is right here to the inside of my thigh, that gives me the approximate ball position for that club. Now, since a wedge has more forward lean, when I step up to that, with the same width of stance, you can see that ball moved back. A driver wouldn't have as much lean, but my hands are in the same place, so that means the ball position is farther forward. So I would base your ball position on how the club is designed. If you are hitting the ball consistently fat, you probably have the ball too far forward. If you're hitting it thin, and you have what we call an inline club here, if you're hitting it thin, the ball could be too far back. So again, just adjust your ball position based on the club. The longer clubs typically need to be farther forward, shorter clubs need to be farther back. So as a general rule, you can say that the wedges are at the sternum, 5-iron's at your logo on your shirt, driver's up here at the tip of your collarbone, right there where collarbone and shoulder joint. Alrighty? All right, next question. This next question is from John. No, it's from Pablo, sorry.
What do you think about David Ledbetter's new A swing? Can you analyze the effectiveness of the swing if there is one?
We talked about this in an earlier webinar as well. Any golf methodology will work for some people. So my suggestion is you try it. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, you look at something else. It's nothing new. There's been a lot of players that have started with the club out here, gone steep, and then rerouted it backwards. So that piece is really nothing new. It just goes here, folds, fires down. And again, if it works for you, then use it. It's kind of like natural golf and Mo Norman. If that works for you, use it. There's not one thing that works for 100% of the people. The things that do work for every methodology are the 5 keys. You have a steady head, pressure forward, club shaft and left arm in one line at impact. You're controlling the sweet spot and you're controlling the path of the swing. All methodologies have those 5 things in common. All right, let's see what the next question is. All right, this is from Bill. Same old question. I'm old and lost distance. How can I regain some yards? Well, Bill, I resemble that remark. Each year I lose a little bit more. But you got to remember the thing that speeds the club. You've got to swing the club, your arm speed. Now listen, if you can hear it, listen to the sound of this. Hopefully you can hear this swish. Okay, that's swinging my arms. This is swinging my body. You don't hear a lot of swish going through there. So you have to swing your arms faster. A good way to do that is pretend that there's a ball up here. Hold the club upside down. Turn back, and as you come through, swing it. You can hear that. Now from down here, you do the same thing. I'm going to take it back, and I'm focusing on swinging my arms and my body's responding. So at the end of the day, hit it in the middle of the face with a good angle of attack, increase your arm speed. Best way to do that is first to build some strength by swinging a heavy club like the Medicus heavy driver. Then just grab a shaft with no club head or a dowel rod and use that for speed. Use the heavy clubs for strength, the light clubs for speed. All right, next question. This is from John. I have difficulty releasing the club. I hit a lot of pushes or pulls. Well, John, if you're hitting a pull, you are releasing the club because your face is already pointed left. If you're hitting a push, your face is pointed to the right. So a really good way to do this is to take and grip the club right underneath the grip like this. Swing it up with one arm so that the grip is pointed here. I'll swing it down and repoint the club. So it looks kind of like this. So you swing it up, swing it through. Swing it up, swing it through. My good friend Mike Bender has another drill that I really like, and that is you take it to the top of the swing. Now you take your trail hand off, my right hand. Now I feel like you pull your knuckles downward. So it looks like this. Holding your knuckles down. If you'll notice, when you do that in slow motion, it starts squaring the face back up too. So it's just a couple of drills that you can use to do that. All right, next question. Okay, from Dave. I have an upright 3/4 swing that works very well with everything but the driver, which I hit way too high with a very high spin rate. Can you suggest any equipment or setup changes that might help? Okay, so Dave, if you're hitting with a high spin rate, generally you're hitting down on the ball. With the driver, you want to swing up on the ball. Now, your high backswing here is not really the cause. It's where you're going on the target side. If you're finishing up like this, it's going to go pretty high. So, but if I took it high here, and then I swung left with it this way, that's going to cut down the height on it. Now, it might make the ball curve a little bit more to the right, but at the end of the day with the driver, you have to be swinging up at impact and not down at impact. Hitting down produces some of those balloon shots, hits it high on the face, and sometimes topping it right up here, the little mark you get on top. But that's going to also increase your spin rate. So what you want is a high launch with a low spin. So to launch it high, the ball's got to be forward. You have to hit it on the upswing. Once you make the impact, instead of taking the club this way, which is what Nicholas always did, that's going to produce a high ball flight. Once you do that, let the club come more left. All right, that should flatten out your flight for you. All right, one more question. All right, and this is from John. How much forearm rotation at the takeaway is too much, and what is just right? Okay, so, John, when you take the club away, and you get back here to about halfway, you want this club not to face upward. You want to face a little bit downward. I see people roll their hands and forearms too much, and now the club gets way behind you. So what you need to feel like, if I put this club in my belly button and I hang on to it here, I turn back to here, that's where that club should go at that point. From here, it starts moving upward more. If you get the club wrapped around behind you, that's generally because you're rotating forearms way too much in the backswing. Remember, you're trying to keep the club in front of you, not behind you. It's really difficult to play golf from up there. Although Ray Floyd was pretty good. He went here, here, but then he went right back down there again. Most people, when they wrap the club around here, will wind up coming back this way. So, again, the idea of forearm rotation, when you get the club back into waist high, that club face should be tilted just a little bit downward, not straight up in the air. That's actually a little bit open to the arc. You can do that if you want to, but you're going to have to move your hands away from your body when you do it. Watch me as I do that. You see how I rotated the face more open? I keep my hands close to me and do that, however, the club head gets behind me. So we want to get the body and the arms synced up a little bit more. Okay, it looks like that's all of our questions for today. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. We will see you again next week. Again, send in what you'd like for us, some topics for us to talk about. We've got some good ones for next week. I'll take a look in there. I'll pick one out. Again, if you get cold, snowy, come down and see me. Until next week, see you guys.